excited!
Good evening and welcome to the Orville Rewatch podcast show, whatever we're calling it this week. Again, I still don't know, but whatever. We all showed up, so it's all good. We are talking about the Orville Season 3, Episode 9, Domino. And I got a question for y'all. Do you like Charlie Burke? Because if you do, this might not be the episode for you.
Spoilers!
Well, yeah, it's assumed there's going to be spoilers. Lots of them. A couple of people die in this episode, actually.
Yeah. Admiral Sam. Hey, Sam.
Oh, not Sam. That's not this Sam.
A different Sam.
Yes, but anyway.
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson, exactly. So, anyway, I couldn't do this, of course, as I always say. I couldn't do this without my trusty cast, my band of misfits to my, I guess, my left, but screen right, I guess. Anyway, let's, without further ado, introduce them. Of course, we have Mr. Kevin Millard.
Hello, Jody.
I decided this time to mix it up and not give you an intro.
Thanks. I actually appreciate that.
Because you get speechless whenever I say something. And of course, the man who is behind all that we can see here on Live Long and Podcast, that of course is Mr. Dave Mater.
What do you say? I'm like Avis? I'm like the creator?
Dave, I will not run around saying that. So
okay.
Get
Just
it out
checking.
of your head now. We're not doing that.
Divine mandate supersedes all other family responsibilities, Jody. So
that's true. All right. And last but not least, of course, the man who keeps us all together and on time, of course, that is Mr. Adam Woodward.
I was on time today.
You were, absolutely. I agree.
It's because you didn't go home.
Because I didn't go.
So, worked it out.
Yeah, I won't show you my boring office, so it's okay.
No.
Great.
Well,
Well, thank you for joining us, Adam, because we know you didn't want to be late. And as I said, this is the Orville Season 3, Episode 9. We are down to the last two episodes. In this case, this is the second last episode of the series so far. So there has been confirmed a Season 4. We don't know when that's going to happen. But apparently it's going to happen. We just don't know when. So, I guess.
Well, unlike the, the Strange New Worlds, which is done.
It's done. It's been in the can for a year.
Yeah, they already have it done, and their post-production's already done.
I think we're going to get a date on this one that hasn't even started yet.
They're starting. They've already started shooting Season 4.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
which means they only have one more season before Paramount inevitably kills it. So
yeah, well, I think it's going to also depend on what happens with Starfleet Academy too, right? So, but
that's going to go down the toilet. I can tell you right now.
Well, you never know. You never know. It could be good. Who's to say?
I don't know.
It's got
it's a premise that only needs to happen once in a while
Holly,
in an episode.
Holly, what's her name from The Incredibles? Holly Hunter.
Oh, Holly Hunter, yeah. Oh, she's a great actress, but I don't know if that will save it. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No,
we're here to talk about the Orville, and of course this episode. What are our first thoughts here, guys? Kevin, I'm more interested in you more than anybody because I kind of hyped this up to be more of an action episode for you. Last time we talked. So, how do you feel?
It is very actiony. I find the battles, let's say, a little long, but not boring. It's good. I love the Admiral twist. I mean, I love and hate it. And I also knew, since you guys told me that Charlie dies in this episode, I kind of already figured out the plot at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, I guess I probably ruined that for you. I'm sorry.
But it's still really well done. Really, really well done. I enjoyed this quite a bit.
And the Trek reviewer says, "Hi, Amy." I think it means hi, my Canadian friends.
Hi, my Canadian friends. Hello,
thank you.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, Trek reviewer, as always, and of course Sam. We got to see earlier. Dave, how do you feel about this?
I feel pretty good about it. Like, it's never boring, this episode. Like, it moves and there's a lot going on, and I kind of wish some of this stuff was happening a little earlier in the season. Like, I think this Krill Mocklin evil alliance is a fun twist. I think it's interesting how, like by the end of it, the Union and the what are they called? The Kalon are allies now and friends, and so it's like, kind of the shuffling chairs of the political system in the galaxy. I think that the funeral scene for Charlie is a little whatever for me. She liked pancakes with butter and she was indifferent to berries, and I don't know. Like
It was no Spock in Wrath of Khan.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to get to that point. Like that's about the only time, in my opinion, that William Shatner actually could fully outact. So it's we'll see what happens, I guess. But choking, what?
You're a choker.
I'm a choker. I hate choking. But anyway, I think you mean
shocking for spoiling this for Kevin.
Everybody's having keyboard issues today in chat, so we'll see what happens. The only thing I thought that was kind of ironically enough, I think the opening of the episode is probably the least fast of the entire episode. I think it's the most boring of everything. But
the cold open, just with the Talea and the Mocklins, and I don't know. It's okay, but I think that this
boring. Like nothing really happens other than we see the two, right? So
yeah, and they teased this idea of making the weapon against the Mocklins in the previous episode, or not the Mocklins, the Kalon in the previous episode, or a previous episode. But I was a little thrown off with how quickly that battle happens. I thought it was maybe a simulation, and until
that's what I kept thinking too.
The one thing we didn't cover, which I know, Dave, you kind of oppose these type of things. There actually was a book that was released in between the 3 episodes that we just did.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that actually explains in greater detail what happened. So I'm not totally sure why they didn't just make an episode, but the lead up, we kind of get a bit of a time jump here, even though it doesn't really tell us there is one, but there was a time jump.
I'm not against books. I'm just
mean just leaving the one media for another media. I know sometimes is an issue for you.
I have issue when there are non-canonical apocrypha that are not all that informative, because it's just it's not going to be used in the future, so
yeah, all right, fair enough.
But if the Orville books are canon, then that's fine. I don't know, maybe they are.
Yep. I don't know, quite honestly. I just know of it. I've never read it or anything, but that's my understanding. Adam, the man who got to see it fresh in his eyes.
I did see it fresh in my eyes, and I don't know if I finished the Orville, like when I was watching back in the COVID years. So I don't remember this, but like last week's episode was really strong. I think we all rated it very high, like 10s. I think. Mm-hmm. This week's was good, like really good again. I took Kevin's comment pretty much to heart last week when he was talking about battle scenes and how they can be overdone and go a little long. And the only thing I would say about that I didn't like is the length of that battle over Krill. It did go long. I think, I'll tap into my fun facts, and this was the second longest running episode.
Second longest. Oh, okay.
Every week it's like, this is the longest episode ever. This is the second longest episode ever.
Last week was the longest.
Wow, we topped it by 2 minutes this week.
But I really liked that initial, I don't know if it was initial battle, but the battle where they first took out all the Krill, or the Kalon. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
They're all shifting back into each other. We'll talk about that, but there was some great stuff in this episode.
All right. Well,
I even like the singing, and I don't ever like the singing.
There you
I
go.
can't say I liked the singing, but
I was a little bored with the singing, but
it was okay. It was
good singing. I just not a fan of singing
Garfunkel
in the middle of an episode.
All righty. Well, let's get into it, guys. All right. There we go. All right. So let me just get my control here.
Oh yeah, and Krill is the opening shot, and it looked even cooler in this episode than it did in the previous one, like the city. Although part of me had to wonder, like, what was Krill must have been a really dark place before they invented like artificial light, So
yeah,
it looks
and on top of that,
always like some kind of club going on, like something,
well, it's very Blade Runner-ish. They have a lot of advertising and stuff like that. And of course, we see what's her name, Talea. Talea.
Not to be confused with Tala.
Not to be confused with Tala, which of course I will.
Or Talia.
Or Talia. Yeah. But anyway, we see her. She's looking over her balcony because she's in charge, as we all know. And she gets informed that the party has arrived. Turns out this party is, of course, the Mocklins. And this is the same guy, right?
He's the Mocklin ambassador from the previous episode. Yep.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I thought so. Sorry, did I interrupt you? You were going to say something, Dave?
Well, Heather was saying, wait, they're singing in this show?
Yep.
Cover of Simon and Garfunkel.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's Dolly Parton last week. You missed
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, Dolly Parton and everything. Yeah, so basically we get our opening here essentially is we find out that essentially they're going to team up. There's not much more to say here other than they know there's a weapon. But
remember, there's the whole dialogue here is how the Mocklins are not too keen to be taking orders from a woman.
Yes.
In Talea. And they're like, well, naturally, like, we'll be the leaders of the alliance.
We can't take orders from a woman.
Like, she's like, well, you'll have to. And like, well, we'll have to talk to our government. That's a very big decision,
Yeah. Very big decision. There we go, full screen. All right. And so basically, she says something along the lines of, well, it's going to be a joint effort because I'm in charge as well. So,
well, it's going to be, we're going to be co-equal partners in this alliance of doom.
And that never goes bad in evil alliances.
Never. And you know what? It didn't go bad in this either. But anyway, so we get our title card, which I think for the beginning of the show, I think this was a really good way to get you into the show. That cold open definitely didn't grab me, but this part did.
Well, the only thing they do mention in the cold open is that Salea will be like one of the first planets attacked by the Kalon next, and then I guess it just transitions us right into this battle that's at Salea.
Yeah, so this is Salea. And we see obviously the Orville's on high alert. And they're playing around with this thing that looks like well, you know what? I'm not even going to go there, but
it looks like
that cold opening was really necessary.
What's that?
It is necessary. The cold open's necessary. It's just not exciting Jody. That's all.
It's not exciting me. That's all. But the good news is I got excited once I saw this. So
because of the phallic nature of it.
The phallic nature is actually what really sealed the deal for me, Dave. But what can you do? Mm-hmm. Anyway, we see the Kalon attack ships come in, and we see this very odd arrangement of Union ships. They've kind of created this almost diamond kind of
right, because the weapon is on the Orville, and so the other ships are just kind of providing.
They're just like blocking it, basically.
Yeah.
So nobody can get to the Orville directly. So they're basically running guard the entire time. But we see the fact that the Krill start to attack. Not the Krill, the Kalon start to attack. And we get to see just this massive fight starting. At that point, I believe Ed says, bring everybody closer kind of thing. So they create this massive cluster of ships, which to me sounds like a really bad strategy because, it's easier to kill them all when they're all in one place.
So guys, like this is kind of funny to me because they do such a great job on the command structure in this show, but it's kind of funny to me they don't have like a fleet admiral, like somebody like out there with them.
Yeah,
right. It seems like Ed's in command of the fleet.
In command.
Yeah.
Well, he has the ship that's got the super weapon on it. So.
No, I know, Jody, but then why wouldn't they have a flag on there?
Yeah, it seems like you throw Ted Danson into this scene too, right? Just or Halsey, to be right because they're all kind of hoping this weapon works because if it doesn't, they're all going to die. I guess is the other kind of result here.
Exactly. So anyway, we find out that Charlie and Isaac both have the ability to make this weapon and work it, and so they decide to fire it off. And when they fire it off, it creates the big gold sonic boom from what is it? Undiscovered Country.
Shields.
Yeah. But anyway, and it just decimates. Sorry, Kevin?
That was me.
Oh, sorry, Adam.
Never mind. It's okay.
Oh, okay. The problem is I only have one screen right now, so I either have to see the slides or I have to see you guys. So I picked the slides naturally because it's much prettier to look at. And at this point, I can't see your.
I'm an Adonis. What are you talking about?
But anyway, on to real life. Anyway, I'm just
the realist.
Yeah, real life talking about a sci-fi show.
Right. So the moment because I'd seen this before, but it had been 3 years, and the moment I clued in here that it wasn't a simulation, because I was like, oh, this seems like they're testing the weapon or they're practicing for a battle.
Absolutely.
But then you see this reaction from Ed and Kelly where they walk out and they look at all the destruction and
realize they killed a whole bunch of people.
They killed a lot of Kaelon at once, and and they were attacking Saleya. They were within their rights to defend it, but
it's the gravity of what they've created just hit them.
Right, the structure of worlds.
Yeah, when you have a super weapon, of this magnitude.
Exactly, but we got to see a lot of ships here. We also realized how small the Orville is compared to a lot of the other ships in the fleet.
Right.
It's
bigger than a few. It's like a medium-sized ship compared.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we go to obviously Union headquarters here on Earth, and this is where they're kind of getting praised by the admirals. I can never remember the lady admiral's name, but we also have Halsey and Sam.
Yeah. Okay, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but anyway, they're kind of praising the fact that the weapon was successful, and they're kind of planning their way to do things. They've decided that they're going to. Is it in this scene where they basically decide they're going to go to the Kaelon homeworld now that they've?
That's where they're starting to have that conversation. It's Admiral Ozawa, by the way.
Ozawa, that's it.
Right. And that they have, can this weapon be used again? They kind of explain, it just comes down to the power source, how big of a quantum core you can hook it up to. And there's kind of, and basically Ted Danson wants to use the weapon right away. He's like, we're going to get them and we're going to take them all out and eliminate this threat. And
I think Charlie's kind of on that same.
And Charlie's totally down too. And Ed's like, wait a second.
We just wiped out a bunch of them.
We're talking about genocide here, and there's this whole it's us or them. And
I have a question, guys. If Cisco's sitting at this, what's he saying?
Oh, he's saying Commander fire torpedoes. I'll tell you that much.
That's exactly what
he's like, show me something in a poison.
Do you have anything in a caustic gas?
Right. Well, because the Kaelon are kind of like, the Borg almost, right? Like there's almost no limit for some people on terms of what's worth, fighting back with, right? Like, it's truly a state of war. Yeah, the line must be drawn here, this far, no further. But they're saying but Halsey ends the conversation saying really it's not up to even the admirals here. We have to this comes down to the government. The government has to decide, do we want to use this weapon and how and etc.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
It's so good that Ted Danson was all on board. But anyway, we get a nice little shot here of the Orville. And we get to see these four, and they're all sitting in the mess hall. I can't remember exactly what this conversation is.
Basically that Charlie and Gordon are in favor of wiping out the Kaelon, and and Lamar and what's her name? Tala. They're more like we're talking about genocide here. We're talking about wiping them all out. Yeah, and I think Charlie at one point says, "Well, I know Isaac's your bestie," and blah blah blah, and he kind of takes exception to those comments where he's like, "Whatever, ensign," and he kind of walks off here.
Pulling rank, eh? You wouldn't expect that from Lamar.
No, but I think he felt like she was out of line, and she kind of is. She's like, if we had this, she's going on about her best friend, lover, whatever. If we had this weapon a year ago, she'd still be alive, and blah blah blah. Right? I'm not really sure what Gordon lost or who he lost that made him.
He didn't. He's just being pragmatic. He's just like, look, they're trying to kill us. We have a chance to kill them.
He's also trying to impress Charlie.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it for Charlie a bit too, even though I'm pretty sure Charlie doesn't steer that way, but. We'll see. But anyway,
she's dead, so she's not gonna steer anyway.
But Anyway, so they go to the table. Halsey has now joined the Orville. He's going to go on this diplomatic mission, or at least a threatening mission, whatever you want to call it, I guess. And they've decided they're going to go to Krill Space, or not Krill Space, Kalon Space. Why do they have to have two with K? But anyway.
Yeah, Heather says Cisco's saying kill them all and let Garrett sort them out. No, Garrett be the one killing them all first.
I don't know. I think it'd probably be a 50-50.
Trek reviewer here.
3 months in a detention center for trying to kill all of the changelings.
Yeah, only 3 months.
3 months. You know, having to pee in front of Odo, in the cells, and then the Trek reviewer is saying the Orville is.
I wonder if Odo was ever the toilet.
He was the bucket. Oh, God. The Orville is the Miranda class of this universe. So take that for
pretty much, yeah. So anyway, they go to alert. They end up getting into Kalon Space. Kalon? Yeah, I got it right.
Yep, you got it right.
All right. Anyway, Bortus says, "Oh, they're showing up.
They're coming. They're coming to kill us. Get ready.
Coming to kill us because they're pretty good at that." And so they try to kill us.
They say, "Hey, if you try to kill us, we're going to use our weapon like we used at Saleya, and we're prepared to use it." And the Kalon don't care. They kill, I think, initially 5 Kalon ships, and then another bunch, like maybe another 15 or something.
Yeah. And the effects of this thing were really cool. They did a great job with the CG.
And the Kalon, at the end of the day, they're sentient beings. They're they're machines, but you are wiping out a lot of individuals.
You're wiping.
But don't let the Kalon find out that only 2 people in the entire Union can use or understand this. Yeah. Which also I don't buy at all.
No.
Fucking, they've been in Lamar's fucking engineering section for developing this weapon, and you're telling me he doesn't have any idea how this works?
Yeah, he's like, I still don't get it.
I can buy it more with Isaac, but Charlie, I get she's like supposed to be super smart and everything else, but she's not like the smartest human being that ever lived. And I'm sure there's like another person that could learn.
She understands 4D planes.
Well, okay, but she's not the only human or the only member of the Union that would. Exactly. So it's like, I don't know. Like
I think what it really is, guys, is that when you get your car and you get two sets of keys, and then if you lose one, you have to buy one. They just don't want to buy another set of keys for the bomb. I think that's really what it comes
like
down
to. It's tactically stupid to have only like one of these weapons, only 2 people that in your entire
why
fleet.
Didn't they interface this thing so that way they could just like plug it into like a USB port on the ship somewhere and then just hit a button and the damn thing goes off? Like you don't need to constantly be playing.
Jody,
with
there's
it,
only one Genesis device, so let's move on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So anyway, they end up going in, and at this point, the Kalon have kind of clued in that this is probably not the.
Hey, we're ready to kill all of you, because that's kind of what the Union Council gave them permission to do. Is like we'll go there and tell them we'll use the weapon as much as we have to until we get the point across, and we can get some kind of armistice. So then they say, "Oh, we'll receive you. Come down and land on the planet." And I'm like, "Why can't you just have a conversation like in orbit?" Or why did they have to go down to the planet?
Yeah, why does this have to be in person? That's a good question.
Delivering them your one and only weapon. I mean, it just doesn't sound like.
It doesn't seem smart.
I'm not sure you should even be there.
Even from the Kalon perspective, you're allowing that weapon to come down to the surface, therefore making it even more like you could wipe out the entire planet from there, right? Like so.
And then from their standpoint, man, those heads can open up anytime and shoot you in like
right.
Yeah, like the thing I have the biggest problem with is, if I recall correctly, which we'll see in a second in the screenshots, but if I recall correctly, the 2 people that have the ability to turn on this bomb both go on the away mission.
Mm-hmm. And they don't bring the bomb with them.
And they don't bring the bomb with them, which means that it's completely useless right now.
I mean, obviously the Kalon don't know that there is only one weapon.
True.
They're going to find out eventually.
They're going to tell them in this scene, but
But anyway, they land on Kalon or Kalon Prime or whatever the hell it's called. I don't even know what this planet's called. Is it just called Kalon?
I think
Kalon, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, they receive them. They show up. Oh, you know what? Lamar isn't there. Oh
Lamar
yeah,
can't
that's
use
because
it.
Lamar doesn't know how to do it, but the two that do are both there.
Well, they said there's some kind of like fail safe that if someone tries to tamper with it or it's gonna go off. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah. Which is probably horseshit. They didn't have time to even interface it in with their own computer, so you can't tell me they got time for a failsafe either. But anyway, so Halsey's like, yeah, I know, it's time to talk, blah, 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 blah. We could kill you, but we're not going to. And then at this point, they kind of say, we kind of have we have a proposition. Why don't we kind of join forces? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember what the actual outcome of this. I know that they eventually...
Well, they said they have no choice.
Yeah, they have.
Oh,
no
that's
choice
right.
But,
Kalon
but
said
to
that
have
they
an
had no choice.
armistice, and then, but they do. I love the end of this scene where they're like, "We will figure this out, and that'll be it."
yeah. They're like, fine for now, And
Yeah.
like
This is fine until we figure out or find the keys for this thing. And then you guys are screwed too.
and based on this conversation, you can kind of see Ted Danson's point of view, right? Like,
Yes.
where he's,
At this point, these guys are pricks. Like, we probably should just wipe them out. But anyway, they all leave. And then they go on their nice little vacay.
yeah, and so I guess like
Kelly's
the war is kind of over, right? Or at least suspended now. And
Yeah.
I thought they were on the holodeck until I realized, they're actually back on Earth, like at this cabin. But
And this is our singing thing, which we're just going to kind of glance over.
it was a nice song. Heather, you should go check it out. You can find it on
It
YouTube.
was Simon and Garfunkel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even what's his name's there?
Clyden?
What is this dude? Clyden. There you
Yeah,
go.
they're trying to.
How
They'll
many
be able to-
K's in this damn universe?
I know. What are you gonna do? Chestnuts will be opened up in a minute by them, but
Yes, which I have to admit was a very funny scene.
and not to mention this 300-year-old bottle of rum that Kelly
Which I'll
brought.
tell you right now, if it's 3 years old,
300 years old.
I'm guessing it doesn't taste good.
Well, she just wants to get hammered, as she usually says.
Well,
Yeah.
this is Kelly. The fact that she's carrying around a bottle to begin with isn't really shocking to anybody.
She's like, "This is my father's favorite bottle of rum." And
This scene was fantastic, though. Just the, the fact that like Clyden is so upset with him that he can't crack this damn thing.
Yeah, he's trying to open a chestnut, and they're like, and
He's like,
Clyden's.
You make us look weak.
Yeah, he's like, "You're doing it wrong." He's like, "I'm doing it just like I was shown." He's like, "Well, if that was true, we would have a nut."
We would have a nut.
The funny thing is, the Mocklins can probably eat the shell, but it's like they could just pop it in with the shell and eat it, but they're trying to.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I guess they could just throw them back and be done with it, kind of thing. Right? They eat glass and shit. Like it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, but he's trying to go for it, and then Tala comes along and opens it with her super strength.
Yes.
And I love, there you go.
Like, you want some help there, boys? She's like, crack. Oh, yeah, there it is. And I like how he just kind of he doesn't.
Clyde's like, "You making us look like fools."
You make us look like fools. And then we see the Aureole Borealis, or what is it?
Yeah, Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis.
Aurora, yeah.
Aurora Borealis. There you go. Third time's the charm. And anyway, we see the kids, including Clyden and Bortus's kid. Can't
Tropa.
remember her name.
Topa
Topa. That's it. Topa.
and Dr. Finn's kids.
And Dr. Finskins that at this point, or we don't care.
They're
about them.
they're basically grown up now, and
Yeah, and we don't care. About them. But anyway,
although-
and Isaac uses his little laser finger to write in the sky.
I had a thought that actually, like maybe like a Topa and Claire's oldest son, that could be a romance in the future of the show, but
Could be.
they're more suited. Topa's more suited for him than she is for Gordon, who she had the crush on.
Well, I don't
last
think
week.
Gordon's interested, but
Yeah, good.
Gordon's busy trying to get Ensign Burke.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, this scene is like, she's obviously not terribly happy, and I guess Mercer picks up on this. Kind of says to her, and she's like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something along the lines of like, we should.
She says we should have wiped out the Kalon when we had the
Yeah.
chance, And Ed says, "Well, that's the principles of the Union is like we don't kill unless we have to. We don't have to." She's like, well, I hope our high ideals don't get us all killed. You know, our idealism.
Foreshadowing. But anyway. Well, I guess it wasn't technically her high ideals that were that got her killed, but anyway.
Well, more of like the union in general, right? Like they're trying to do this the best way possible, you know, versus, you know, like there are people within the union like Ted Danson and her and Gordon who are like, no, let's just like, this is our shot. This might be our only shot to like save ourselves forever, you know? And why wouldn't we do it? Don't we have a responsibility?
Yeah, exactly. So we're back at Union headquarters again, or Union Central, I guess it's called. And we get to see this guy who we've never seen before. He just kind of walks around, and he goes up the elevator.
So did you guys think that these were Kalon, like it converted, like?
Actually, I think these were Krill.
No, I think they're actually humans.
They are human. They're human, but initially I thought they were like what Isaac does, you know, when he makes himself look like.
At first I thought they were.
Didn't seem human. He seemed like he was pretending to be human.
Yeah, I still think these guys were Krill, but because the Krill have the ability to look like other people.
True. He might have been a Krill. But I don't know, like Ted Danson, they already had Ted Danson on, so you know, I feel like he could have maybe found a couple officers willing to do this, but
well, maybe these are officers that also, you know, think the same way as him, and you know, they're gonna steal the device. Which is exactly what they do. Turns out they're using their own codes. Now, what badge is that, Dave?
Security.
Is that security? Okay.
Yeah. The red is always security.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they get the roll-on antiperspirant bomb, and then at this point they take off in the shuttle.
It's a roll-on antiperspirant. Yes.
Well, doesn't it kind of remind you of a roll-on antiperspirant?
It reminds me of many things.
Does.
Well, I don't want to know about the other things, Dave.
Maybe a vibrator. I don't know. So it's.
See, you had to go there, Dave.
Also, kind of looks like a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it does kind of look like that. But anyway, so we see the shuttle. The shuttle is going. I can't remember where this one. This one just goes to the. It ends up. Oh no! It just takes off. It just the scene was. It goes by the space station, and then it goes to warp. I guess I missed that part somehow, but anyway. So then we see Kelly the next morning. Kelly, obviously, you know, she's always working the hangover because that's just how she lives. And she's looking at the nice sunset, or sunrise, I guess it is. And her and Claire are having a chat. This is the only time Claire is even in the episode, really, other than when she's in the background.
2 weeks in a row. Fantastic.
Yeah, they probably had to like pay scale and level it somehow, but you know, but anyway, so the two of them are kind of talking about how, you know, peace is great, blah blah blah, and you know, hangovers are worse, essentially.
And Tala can't get a hangover because she doesn't have a liver.
She doesn't have a liver, and both of them are like, we were born on the wrong planet.
But if Tala doesn't have a liver, then how can she even process the alcohol at all? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I don't think we've ever seen Talia get drunk, have we?
No, I guess not. But we know that they have booze on their planet, so they have Soleil and rum amongst other things. But
yeah. So anyway, they get a call from Halsey. Halsey's upset. He's like, "Where's Mercer?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's
in bed. Wake him up.
Still. Wake him up." So we see the shuttle again, and the shuttle is now docking with the Krill ship, and we obviously see a Mocklin ship as well. And of course, we get the nice little bay where they come in, and I still get the impression she's in charge.
Yeah,
because he's like standing beside her, which is just odd.
Well, they're on the Krill ship too.
Of course. Who do we see? But Sam himself,
the betrayer.
Betrayer.
This was a dark moment. I did not enjoy this at all.
No.
Yeah.
I understood his reasoning behind it, but
sure, but he's the Badmiral. Come on.
He said he was going to turn himself in.
He did actually. Right. He said after he left, he's going to go back to Earth and turn himself in. Yeah, and then it
doesn't excuse your Badmiralness.
True. But basically, you know, they go through, you know, the fact that they now have it. And I think this is where he says there's only two people that know how to do it, which is Ensign Burke and Isaac. And I can't remember what her response was to that, but
they're gonna get a team of scientists to figure it out.
Oh, that's right. We're gonna get our best people on it, which later on Bortus tells us that there's a Mocklin who's very capable of making this happen. But anyway, and Sam decides he's gonna leave. He goes to leave, and sure enough, they shoot his ass and kill him.
Right. Well, like
It
the
is really
Mocklin
bad.
guy, he wasn't like too worried about Ted Danson going back and telling everyone about the new alliance with the Mocklins and the Krill, but Talea didn't like it. She's like, no, we should keep that secret for a little longer.
Let's keep that on the down low for now.
Like, she could have killed him while he was on the bridge, but she chooses to wait until he's on the shuttle to kill him. But anyway.
Well, because in that way they can leave a trail.
Right. They have to have the trail
We'll
for them to
figure it
follow
out
later. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's called.
Well,
it's
also,
called
and
because the plot
she's
needed
going to kill everyone on. He's not the only one on the shuttle.
true.
That's true, yeah, because the two security people are with them as well, so they're dead too.
Yeah.
So not that we care, but anyway.
Well, assuming that they weren't Krills, or whatever. But
So they're getting up to speed on what's going on here. They found out that the weapon's been stolen. At this point,
they figured out Ted Danson's responsible.
Yeah, and when they look at the security codes that were used, turns out they're Ted Danson's. And he was, he obviously is not just working at Cheers, he's working other places. And at this point, they decide they're going to go to Krill, I think.
I think they're going to warn the Kalon first, aren't they?
Oh, no, they're warning the Kalon first. Yes, that's right.
No, they go to Krill first to see what's up.
And that's
no,
where
they
they
go to
find-
where this. It's not over Krill.
They track the
it's-
shuttle first.
Right. And then they
Oh,
go
yeah, that's right. They're
and
tracking
they
the
find
shuttle.
the huge fleet.
Yeah,
And
this
then
is
they
where
go
the fleet
to
is. Yeah, which I had to admit, the way that they animated the fleet was pretty cool. And this big ass, very, very lit up facility, which is very big when you think about it.
Yeah, that's like a massive.
That's quite a facility.
And, that combined fleet of Krill and Mocklin ships is large. Too.
Yes, very large.
And then Mercer says we're going to need help, and that's when they go to the KO.
Yeah, and then they decide they're going to buzz out again. This is when they talk to the Krill. Now I remember
remember that weapon we were talking about. Well,
that weapon. Well, they kind of got stolen. And I like how Kalon speak. He was just like, "You idiots, you stupid,
your incompetence."
Yeah, your incompetence has made us now have.
Once again, we have no choice but to help you because
your incompetence,
your gross incompetence as a species. So at that point, they meet up with Kalon. Then at that point, they all kind of group together. One of the Kalons decide to, the Alpha or whatever his name is.
This docking sequence was awesome.
Yeah,
look cool.
Kalon primary,
really cool.
I love the skids, like the sled there, the ski skids there.
Yeah,
they look awesome. That was great.
Yeah, the way that these because these are pods from the bigger ship, right? So the pod comes out first, and then at that point, then the pod kind of transforms into what it needs to be. Because there's another scene earlier on, I think, where we see the pods and it's like extended, and it's like going to warp kind of thing. So it's I guess these like kind of things that are around the ship have different ways of being configured, kind of like foils and stuff like that, I guess. But pretty cool. However, they could probably do a little bit of work on their ramp. That doesn't look very handicap accessible, but what can you do? Anyway, so they decide they're going to work together. I love the guys in the background here with her. The one guy's like, and every time I got a screenshot of this guy, I had to delete it like 3 or 4 times because every time I tried to get the screenshot, that guy was always blinking. Not sure why, but anyway.
He's a blinker.
He's Mr. Blinky. We're just going to call him that. So anyway, they sit at the table. They basically devise the plan. What they're going to do, they're going to go find this facility because I guess this is the thing that makes the weapon way more powerful. It's like a big array, basically. or some might call it a Death Star. I don't know.
They have
It
have a
has
massive
sensors.
power source on the planet, right? That
You know
makes the
that-
weapon.
You guys notice that Ed never sits at the head of the table?
No, I
Never.
don't think anybody sits at the head of the table because they would be blocking the screen then.
No, like where the Kalon is, primary is.
Oh, yeah, no, he never sits there.
I think the admiral
he's
sat there,
always-
right? Yeah, like
Yeah, he's
earlier.
always on the side. He's usually sat where like Tala or Charlie is.
Yeah, he's usually a couple back actually. Yeah, but anyway, Bortus explains the facility. Basically, it's a big amplifier, and it's got a huge power source. And Charlie's like, "Yeah, let's go ahead, kill everybody. It'll be fun." And I guess at this point, originally they wanted him to go, but he wants to go to the ground forces instead because they're going to have a ground assault and then obviously the fight up high. And he's like, "No, I'm going in the ground forces as well," which kind of works out well. But he's also an ass. But anyway, we get to see the nice little. I think the Krill have way more ships than the Mocklins do in this scenario, but because when you're looking at this, it definitely looks a little one-sided.
Well, it is Krill territory.
Well, it is Krill territory,
No,
so I guess maybe
This is Mocklin
Mocklin
territory.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is Mocklin.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, so
So then my architect comment earlier doesn't make any difference. Okay, never mind.
The Mocklins do not have a great sense of aesthetics. They're like
No.
the Vorta, I think. Like
No, yeah.
they're better than the Borg, but barely. Like it's so gross.
Yeah.
And the
I
Kalon
don't-
need to find a color other than
The Kalon's like red and orange, and
The Kalons are always red and orange. And
Remember,
then we
bright
have
light. you
Krill
can't
who are
handle
always
bright lights,
green.
guys.
Krill are always green. I guess the Mocklins have kind of like this brownish orange.
They got brown going on. They
Yeah,
do
but
brown
this is
really
much.
well.
They can't handle bright light. The Krill.
Right.
Well, then I don't think green is your best option.
Well,
But-
it's just sunlight they can't handle, right? So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
UV rays.
But we also heard in one of the previous episodes, I think from the second season, how there's different types of Krill as well. So there's Krill that lived on one side of the planet and Krill that lived on the other side, and they're different colors and stuff. But we never see the other ones. Well, we got to see them one time, but that was it. But anyway, we get to see the nice fleet coming through. These guys really know how to replicate ships, eh? Like they're really good at it.
Still looks better than you're at the end of season 1 of Picard, where like Riker comes in
God.
with all these copy and paste ships, and it just looks
Oh,
awful.
and they are so copied and pasted. It's not even funny.
This looks
At
better.
least these are in different angles and shit. Like, it's like
this
because they're not all going to be on the same plane.
it's one thing I like about the Union is they have lots of ships, and they're not like this overpowered force like the Federation is, right? The
Right.
Federation, one ship can always handle like 15 ships of anyone else.
Yeah,
Or-
these guys get their asses handed to
Or
them. constantly.
they don't have enough because they're in the Laurentian system doing something.
Right. They're
Yeah.
on some
Special
exploratory
operations.
mission.
You know what? The Enterprise is always the one that's where it should be. Everybody
Yeah.
else is kind of in the wrong spot. But anyway, so we end up seeing the fact that they're all kind of joining forces here, and we get our start, which is the Krill. Actually, I looked back. The Krill are the ones that fire first, just so you know, which I think that makes it better in somehow. But,
Makes sense that they would be the ones to do it.
They would
then.
be, yeah, realistically. But anyway, so they start fire. So this is where they start the attack. We see that these guys are in the shuttle. So we got 2 Kalons, and then we got Charlie, and of course we have Tala and Kelly. And they're in their little like SWAT suits. I don't know if you guys noticed the SWAT suits.
Yeah. So we
Pretty
saw
spotty.
Kelly and Bortus's version in the last episode, but I guess they got the division color
Yeah.
as well.
Now I have to admit, for a space battle scene, I think this is pretty good. Like
Too
it's.
long.
You think it's too long? I thought it was okay. I think it could have been shortened a bit, but
Sorry, when they're talking about when Charlie's counting down the meters to get to wherever they need to get to, 9,000, 7,000. Like it was just long. Like that seemed a little drawn out. I like the beginning of it.
Yeah, like I like the battle too, but what I don't like is the sound effects that they use in the Orville universe. Just with all like, it just sounds like it's too much of a pew pew sound for me sometimes.
It's very pew pew. Yeah.
Man, they lose a lot of people.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. This is like a massive battle.
Yeah, this is very blurry.
Like I was wondering about all the space debris they leave behind between killing all the the Kaelon ships.
Who cleans that up? That would have been a nice little scene at the end where we see like a couple Krill engineers or something, the guys that are left over, and they're like, oh, it's like, who's got to clean this?
Salvage guys.
Yeah, the salvage guys show up. But anyway, we get to see a lot of fighting. We'll just kind of go through that. The shuttle takes off out of the Orville in cloak automatically. Now, their cloak is useful, I guess, but is it really that useful? Like,
I think it's supposed to be just visible for us.
I guess, yeah, maybe. And we also get to see these nice fast flyer things that they have finally be used more than once.
Yeah. Well, they would tease them in the first episode, and then it just was sitting.
The first episode of the third season, yeah. And then we have them, and turns out that our engineer is also a good pilot as well, which we already know. And of course, we have what's his name in there as well.
Gordon. Interesting to have him in command of this group.
He's the highest rank.
I understand that he's the highest rank, but is he the best person to?
He's not normally a fighter pilot, right?
Right. So, I would think it would be Gordon, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's also Gordon. Like,
I get it, but yeah, it's.
I love these Mockless goggles, man. The Mocklin goggles are amazing. I love them.
Right. Well, and it's kind of like to Leia in the first scene of the episode. She's like, "You Mocklins, you're the worst fighters ever. You guys are a bunch of blunt basher guys. You have no tactical."
You lack the tactical ability of the female mind.
So, the nuances.
I think that was already talked about in another episode where Mocklins were called out as not the best fighters, but definitely the best weapon builders,
Makers, yeah. They can build a weapon. They're just not so good at firing the weapons, I guess.
So how do we feel about the design of these fighters?
Look good.
Looks like Cloud City to me.
It is kind of Cloud City, yeah. I don't know how I feel about them. I don't know.
What are you feeling?
I just they look too much like. Okay, so do you remember the ugly yellow things from the Phantom Menace? I think it was the what was the Yabu fighters or Tabu fighters or whatever.
Oh, you mean the Naboo Naboo fighter?
Naboo fighters, yeah. They kind of remind me of that with the like crazy stupid cockpit with the slope down and all that. Like the back end obviously is very Orville, but I don't know. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. I'll give it a pass.
Okay. Well,
I, however, do not like the Krill ones. I've decided I don't like the Krill ones at all.
Yeah, I've seen these before too. The Krill, they're a little like what I like about the Union version is that it's sleek, it's maneuverable.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I see the Krill ones now, I just think of that video game. What was it? The one where you're looking down in the tunnel.
They look like big praying mantises or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah, they look like they belong in a Cylon fleet.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a good analogy. We do get to see the ship going here as well as the other ships. Basically they're trying to get down to the ground installation, and of course they've got resistance. We get to see Gordon doing his little woohoo moves because he's obviously Maverick. And at this point, I like how this guy has the glasses that have the red tinge to them. I like that. It's pretty sweet.
That's how you know he means business.
Well, he's in attack mode because his glasses have changed to red. Instead of the normal. So yeah, that's obviously it. But anyway, we get a nice little space battle here. I thought this was kind of cool too. We start seeing the installation as well. The Kaelons, basically they're getting their asses handed to them for the most part. So they're like, yeah, we could really use you guys down here. So then the Kaelons show up as well to help. And then we get to see Kelly's suiting up in the, I guess this is the jumpsuit. I don't know.
Well, it's the same thing when she has like this, sleek helmet that comes up. So
yeah, Yeah. Well, they're all the humans are wearing these.
I think it's the same outfit that like you see Lamar wearing in the cockpit too. Like,
is it really?
I think so.
Hold on. It's similar, yeah. Yeah. Because even Gordon's wearing something that's really similar. Let me just see if I can get Lamar here.
You'd have to go back, but
yeah, it's not. Oh,
there
we
he
go.
is.
Yeah, it's different, but it's similar. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to where we were because I got sidetracked. Anyway, so yeah, they end up jumping out. I was expecting Charlie to give the finger while she was doing this. I thought that would have been appropriate, but I think we've already seen that in a movie, but I can't remember which one.
This was, I guess, kind of like the scene in Star Trek 2009 where Kirk and Sulu and that other guy who dies kind of do that
jump down to the
that
drill
jump
thing.
down like the drill and everything. It was kind of like that.
Or in Into Darkness where they're going across to the
right. Yeah, that was in space, but yeah,
same idea, I guess. But anyway, so they're flying through. I like how Isaac and Prime are both just in I guess they already have jets on them and stuff. So
yeah, and they obviously they don't need suits.
So pretty hard to grab screenshots of these guys because they are blurry for almost the entire time. But anyway, they eventually land. And when they land basically near the door of the installation, or
finally
now
close to where they need to get.
Yeah.
When they get here, I expect to see Ewoks. This reminds me very much.
And where are the AT-ATs? I don't know where they are either. Anyway, Isaac does his little thing to try to open the door. Turns out it's locked. Tala, of course, does the pickle opening.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't actually say it in this one, which is good because Mercer's not there, so no one can say open the jar of pickles, which is probably good. Now, I have to admit, when I saw this corridor, I'm like, oh, cool, they got new lights. Yeah, that's literally the only thing.
It's the exact same set that they were holding Topa in, but it's lit with white lights now.
Yeah, now it's got white lights. But anyway, they pull out the scanner. Ensign Burke here figures out the best way to go through. Turns out it's the way where there's resistance, because that happens. And at this point, Kelly and Tala, I believe, they stay behind. The other
we get in the same firefight we had last week. Pretty
much the exact same firefight for the most part. Kelly, even though we don't know she is, but apparently she's quite the marksman because she by herself can handle most of the people. It's not an issue. So anyway, we get to see where the core is. She's obviously looking over it. Talea. There we go. Talea is overlooking it, and at this point, she's talking to the guy, and this is actually the guy that Bortus was talking about earlier. This is the guy that could figure out how to use it, if anybody could.
Dr. Kalba.
Not Lamar, but this guy in about 12 minutes has got it figured out.
Yep. Wasn't that hard. But Lamar can't do it. Lamar's not smart enough.
Turns out you just press the button.
It turns out there's an odd button. Crazy. It was there the whole time. But anyway, well, they probably had to move some of those isolinear chip things. They had to move them around, and then at that point they could hit the button. But we don't get to see that here. But anyway, they start turning on this thing. At this point, Bortus has figured out that they're turning it on. At this point, then I believe they're still in the firefight. Yep, and they're doing the kind of trench run now, where they're, I think it's Gordon, some unknown guy who ends up dying, and Lamar are all going in.
Well, it's kind of interesting because you got the team on the surface, you got them fighting this battle, you got the space battle, so it's kind of neat for them to jump in around to different aspects of this fight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's actually what helped this, because if we got one of those scenes much longer, I think it would have dragged a lot more. So I like the fact that they kind of jump back and forth in this scenario. They're shooting at this thing. They're not having very good luck with it, but they eventually do figure out what's holding this thing together, I guess, and they start shooting at that. Meanwhile, Kelly's just getting her ass handed to her by whatever T something.
Talea.
Talea. That's it. I'm terrible at this. But anyway.
We should make Jody a little card so he has them and he can put it next to his computer.
Yeah, you should have did that, 29 episodes ago?
Yeah, like 3 seasons ago.
We're almost at the end now. Thanks for playing, Adam.
Whenever we do come back for season 4, you will have forgotten everybody's name.
No, I'm going to do this, Jody. I'm going to do old school. Like,
when we come back for season 4, guys, I will make a card, okay? Just to impress you all. But anyway, these two, I had to admit this fight was pretty good. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
I also like the fact that Kelly can take a punch, which, in my opinion, she's probably one of the toughest people on the crew.
That's why she drinks so much.
Oh, here's the no-name guy that's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's dead. Anyway, he gets shot by this massive cannon thing. Now, why did this cannon just only come out now? Like... They've been attacking the surface of this thing for a good 10 minutes now. Why are they only just starting this?
They didn't have the sophisticated mind of the female to
It's Mocklins.
Yeah, so the
tactical moron.
some Krill woman came along and was like, "Why don't you use the gun?
Why don't you use the big guns you guys have?
What are you doing?"
And the Mocklins were like, "Oh, okay." It was kind of like when they were trying to open the chestnut earlier in the episode, or the walnut, I guess.
Had to come and tell them.
And someone has to do it for them.
So anyway, I love this scene though. This is great where what is this? Prime. He kind of just open fires and just takes them all.
Yeah, he kills the scientist, right? Like or he hasn't done it yet.
Oh no, he hasn't killed the scientist guy yet, but he kills all the Krill people when they enter the chamber. So the only one left are the Mocklins. And at this point we see I guess this is the ambassador.
The ambassador guy?
Yeah. He's reaching for his sidearm. Or back arm, depending on how you look at it. And at this point, I think, was this Isaac? No,
that's primary.
No,
that's still primary.
The Mocklins try to leave, and the
and
primary kills them all. Yeah. Except for the one guy, the guy with the gun.
Yeah, and now they have a little exchange here. I can't remember exactly what it was, but something to do with you need a dermatologist or something. She's like, you need to learn how to fight better or something like that. She's like, you need a dermatologist.
She needs to learn how to control her passions, or she'd still be married.
Yes,
and
right. It's like the kind of the classic cliche of the girl fight, where it's like they throw a lot of.
They trade the shots before they go.
Especially the two of the male protagonist, lead, and like the two that have had the relationship.
Yeah, because they both have a history. One has a kid with one, and the other one was married to her.
Right.
To him, so at this point, kind of makes sense, I guess. So at this point, they still haven't figured out. Somebody needs to put these consoles in English. If they put them in English, this would be way easier. But I have no idea how to start. But good news,
Charlie Burke can figure it out. She's like 4-dimensional thinking or something or other.
Yeah, she's like, I just have to think 4-dimensionally, which I guess is code for being sober. I don't know. But anyway, so he pulls out his sidearm, and just as he pulls out the sidearm, good old Isaac, he opens up his little headshot there and shoots it out of his hand. At this point, Charlie, I don't think I got the picture of it, but Charlie kind of looks at him like, oh, you kind of saved me. And at this point, Charlie kind of explains that, yeah, we can turn this thing off, but this could be a problem.
And Kalon Primary asks Isaac why he didn't kill him.
Yes.
And he says, because it wasn't necessary.
Necessary.
This is where Charlie says something like that you need to understand.
You should learn to be like him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can tell she's all of a sudden starting to have respect for Isaac. Just in time.
Well, I think it's also calling back to that conversation she had with Ed, right? Where the union believes we don't kill unless we have to, and that's what Isaac does, right? Yeah. And kind of reinforcing that idea that the Kalon can change, they can learn, they can
Now in this particular screenshot, Talea looks like she's having a good time. I'm not totally sure if that was just coincidence or not. But anyway, they're strangling each other. Well, obviously, Talea has the upper hand right now. And she's about to stab her. And this is where she gets smacked in the face by Talia.
Tala.
Kala. There we go. Too many T's and too many K's in this damn show. But anyway. So at this point, they join up with Charlie. Charlie basically explains that, yeah, we can't just put this on automatic. Someone's going to have to stay here. So I'm going to stay here. You guys all leave because you don't want to be here because things are about to blow up pretty hard. And she's like, well, it's kind of my duty. I'm going to do it. It's my duty, blah, blah, blah. You know, I guess this is supposed to show how awesome Charlie is. Personally, it was good riddance, but anyway, what can you do?
Come on, she's dead now.
That's great. I'm glad. But anyway, I'm such a bad person. But anyway, we get to see this. You know, they're running back to the shuttle at this point. Turns out their shuttle's gone, so they have to. Well, the shuttle ended up crashing, I think, because they bailed out of it, right?
Yep.
So they have to acquire another shuttle. They ask her, you know, where is the nearest shuttle? She's like, that way, which I'm surprised she even helped them. At this point, Bortus is like, yeah, this thing's going to blow up. We should probably leave. And then that's when they get the call that, you know, it's time for everybody to like take off because like this is about to blow up and it's going to take out a lot of people. And this is where the ensign sees the last spec before things go, and this is where she says something like she's gonna join her friend, or like I can't remember the girl's name that she was with.
Amanda.
Amanda. There you go. So anyway, she's like, I'm gonna see you, Amanda, or something like that. And then the whole facility blows up.
This was impressive. This was a good explosion.
You know what I liked about this explosion? It wasn't overdone. Like, it didn't take out half the planet or anything like that. It's a surface explosion that just goes up and wipes out the immediate area, but that's about it.
I do like the intermittent ships just blowing up as it
it kind of goes through, which is cool. And at this point, this is where they tell Mercer, you know, they're okay, but he's like, where's Charlie? And they're like, yeah, no, she didn't come with us.
Oh, yeah. And they got Talea as a prisoner too, right?
Yeah,
so.
They got Talea as a prisoner, which I'm sure he's really happy about. And he's like, I do sad face now. And then at this point, everybody else is like, ooh, this kind of sucks. So they meet back up, and they all decide they're going to go their separate ways. And at this point, they're heading down to the area. Now, I can't remember this conversation.
Well, this is the whole conversation where he's like, I don't get it. Why did Charlie sacrifice herself to save me? You know, and then Kelly's like, that's the whole point. That's why you don't understand us. And Isaac goes on to say, you know, like these, not all the biologicals are like the ones who created us.
Creators, yeah.
You know, and so it's like, I don't know, there's like this whole awakening here for Kaelon Primary where he starts to see biological life forms in a different light.
So he can be changed, is what you're saying.
Even though he's clearly the biggest dick of all the Kaelons, you know, he's coming around.
So here's my question: why is the bomb still on the display?
I don't know.
Good question.
They didn't change out the panel.
I guess
he's already started making a new one just in case.
This unknown ensign guy is just like, I can make another one, no big deal.
Yeah, now we're making one that like anybody can use.
Yeah, might as well. And Ed's like, yeah, you should probably go down to sickbay. She's like, I'm good. She's like, I'm already liquored up anyway, it's fine. But anyway, and everybody's kind of sad to hear that Ensign Burke has been killed. And at this point, they're all kind of sad. And then Mercer ends up.
I was only sad that they made her the hero. I also disliked her through the entire show.
Yeah, I was not a fan.
Who, Charlie?
Like I like the premise of it, and I like the story. They're not the. I just hated that character. So
yeah, the character was the fault. No, no fault of the actress. It's just.
Is it not though?
No, I don't think it is. I think that was exactly how they written it, and I think no matter who would have did it, it would have been the exact same way.
As I looked it up, she hasn't worked since this.
Oh well, I think she was dating Seth MacFarlane at one point.
But
so
not
maybe
after.
maybe this is when they broke up.
Maybe she got blacklisted after that.
Yeah, maybe.
She's an Esri.
She's an Esri. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they have a discussion. He's like, why don't you let me? I can't remember their kid's name. What's their kid's name? Anybody?
Anaya.
Anaya, there you go.
Nice
I
name.
can't even believe you knew that. Well, I can actually, but anyway, Anaya, he's like, why don't you let me get Anaya, and I'll give her a life to live. And she's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. As long as I'm in custody, you're not gonna ever see her.
Right, like
let me go, and I'll arrange for you. Arrange for
so
it.
she's even trying to spin it at the end. Right?
You can't trust this woman. Like she's bad. She's really bad. Talea. You can even see it like after she's like, "You're a sentimental fool," and he's like, "It's sentimental to like care about her," and like I don't know. Like I think to a certain degree, Talea puts on this persona when she talks to Ed. Because she's also got this other side of her that isn't this full-on evil, but she does a lot of bad things. Everybody, and I think I don't think compassion and mercy is quite the right approach with her.
Exactly. So anyway, they leave her in the brig. He takes off. He's like, "Yeah, screw you, lady." So they're back at the headquarters. This is where they, all the admirals and whatnot, and the head of the consul and I can't remember what the lady's duty is, but they're talking with the Kalon, and they're like, "Yeah, this is what being in the Union's about."
Now, I think the Union is being a little tough here, and like they don't have a weapon anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's gone. The Kalon are not particularly weakened.
You're right.
Well, what's stopping them from making another weapon?
Maybe less of a scolding tone through this meeting.
Especially when they can just open their heads up at any time
and shoot you. Yeah,
they could just wipe out like half the planet at this
point. And they already established that it's not like they would just kill these Kalon guys, but it wouldn't matter because we saw Isaac rip off Primary's head, and they said, "Well, we can be regenerated and whatever."
Yeah.
So they even if you just killed these bodies, they wouldn't necessarily die.
Yeah, they can put their instance into another one. But Halsey is looking a bit rough today. So, but anyway, so
he lost his bestie.
What's that?
He lost his bestie.
Well, he's just wondering who's going to be bartending now at the Union Central Bar. That's the biggest problem we have here. So anyway, we're back at Space Dock now, and they're now having a ceremony for Ensign Burke. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was amazing.
I give it a low score. As far as funeral scenes go, it wasn't as good as like a Tashiar or what else could we compare it to? I guess.
It wasn't. But I don't care about this character, so it was fine.
Yeah, so it was okay. But anyway, we see everybody, and they're everybody's in the ceremony. Isaac decides he's gonna talk, and he's like, "Yeah, Claire helped me with this, but these are my sentiments, and I didn't know her very well, but I know she didn't like pancakes, or
she did like pancakes.
No syrup.
No syrup. She liked butter only. She was indifferent to berries." And I don't know. It was just like, what is this? What's the point of this? Like to remind us.
Well, it's just to show that he at least knew something that all the rest of these people didn't know. Probably. Because like, how many of these people knew that? But anyway, so it was. I guess it was supposed to be the fact that he's learning sentiment. I guess. And he's like, I'm never gonna get laid, like ever.
He was never getting laid with her anyway. So
no. But I think he had a chance. I think he thought he had a chance.
But he's almost has a tear there. They were singing songs. In the cabin. Remember?
He's like, who's gonna do Garfunkels now?
Yeah, who's gonna do the Garfunkel? You were my harmony partner. But...
Yeah. Now what am I gonna do? Oh, and we're done. That's it. So the last scene is that one. Yep.
All right.
So anyway. Let me just flip back over here. There we go. So that is Domino. But as the dominoes fall and they're all that powerful, we also have somebody else who's far more powerful.
Can we just before we finish this? I will say that
you just interrupted me doing my awesome intro.
Sorry.
All right, fine.
The thing that they said, they tied in the domino to Charlie being the first domino to fall. That was great. That was good. I like that because I was wondering where the hell this is going to come in.
That was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was for sure. All right. Well, thanks for interrupting my intro. It was an intro for you, so now I'm just going to be like,
Fun facts with Adam.
Fun facts with Adam. Yay! All right, let's go.
All right, let's go. Okay, the song performed by Gordon Malloy and Charlie Burke was Simon Garfunkel's "Flowers Never Bend with the Rain." If you were interested, and Dave, I already told you,
Dave
but
was.
including
The rest of
all
us,
the
that's
credits. This episode runs approximately 1 hour and 18 minutes. This places the second longest episode of both the season and the series.
Every week, this is your new fun fact. This is the longest episode ever. No, this one
The
is.
second longest.
Midnight Blue last week was, I think it was Midnight Blue was last week, 1 hour and 27 minutes.
Yeah, and I feel like I never have enough time to watch it. Like by the time I get around to watching it, but
yeah,
that's
I'm with you. It was a rush tonight. Okay. Upon here, I like these kind of historical quotes here, or fun facts. Upon hearing the Krill and Mocklin of the Mocklin and Krill alliance, Captain Mercer comments, "It's the Molotov-Ribbentrop all over again." And this is a reference to the pact signed by, I won't say the Russian name, but Molotov and Johann von Ribbentrop in the pact between Russia and Nazi Germany, where they agreed to a non-aggression pact between towards each other, which lasted 2 years.
Right, and until they attacked Russia.
Yeah. This is echoes of we all called it out, but echoes of Star Trek Undiscovered Country, where an established member of the Admiralty joins a conspiracy to sabotage the peace talks with a hated enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. And the external shots of the cabin where the crew are taking shore leave are the same cabin used in the Pearson Club in This Is Us, the show This Is Us.
Was there not another scene in this season where they were in a cabin, or it was, or am I imagining this? No, was it? Maybe it was somebody's quarters.
Dolly Parton's.
Yes, they were in Dolly Parton's cabin previously.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the same cabin though,
Okay.
or at least it wasn't the same set anyway, or they dressed it really well. One of the two.
They actually called the enemy aircraft bogies in this, which is an RAF term adopted by the U.S. military, meaning unidentified aircraft. Bandit is the term from a known hostile aircraft, so they were calling them both. In the 25th century, Union spaceship pilots may not use the same terms, but they did in this episode.
What are they doing?
I don't know.
What are they doing? That's a good question.
And then I'll leave it there with one more. When the Kaline primary notes that democracy is inefficient, Halsey counters by saying that the one thing you can say about democracy is that all other forms of government are even worse. This is very paraphrasing Winston Churchill, who in 1947 said, "Indeed, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government, except for all those other forms that have been tried from time to time."
And funnily enough, Churchill had just mentioned in the scene where a different quote was falsely attributed to him, when Admiral Halsey said, "How did you accomplish it so quickly?" And Mercer says, "For great achievements, two things are needed, a plan and not quite enough time." Ted Danson says Churchill, but Isaac corrects him, Leonard Bernstein.
Yes.
All right.
So there you go, guys.
I knew
we've been on for. I mean, there was not a lot of fun facts for this big episode, but I think it was pretty good. Let's get a rating.
Oh, and apparently Ann Winters didn't stick around for her funeral scene. She's like, I don't want a bunch of people staring at my face. So I also read that.
I can't blame her on that one. You're not needed. Time to leave. Yeah. But anyway, time for ratings. That is what is needed, gentlemen. So let's do it. All right, Adam.
I'm gonna say this was like a very good episode. A little long for me, so 9.
9. Okay. Dave, how are you feeling about it?
I feel like a 9's worthy here. You know, like I could go 8.5, but I'll bump it up to 9.
9. Okay. Kevin.
I think I'll go 9.5. This might be one of the better penultimate episodes I've ever seen, depending on what next week is.
Well, we'll tell you shortly. But for me, you know what? I'm more with Kevin here. I think a 9.5. It's really good. I was very entertained the entire time, and that to me is pretty much what I have to be. But I think Midnight Blue was a little bit better, just in its content. So Overall, that gives us an average of 9.3. IMDb says this is 9.1, which is one more than Midnight Blue. So we're reversed as to what the rest of the world feels, apparently. And our combined average is 9.2. But, Dave, we got other things to talk about, too, don't we?
Well, not many more things, Jody. Not until season 4. But we are not quite done season 3, are we?
We are not quite done season 3. We still have one more episode left, and that, of course, is Future Unknown. And this is the 10th and final episode of the 3rd season. And Isaac proposes to Claire, and a visitor seeks asylum aboard the USS Orville, but struggles against a life in the Planetary Union. So I wonder who that is.
So we've got Claire coming back.
Yeah, Claire is in this episode more.
What is wrong with Claire? You know, I know it was like pretty heavy on her for
too many Claire episodes, but this is
they dialed back in the last 2.
Dave, I didn't really like the last one where she was like so in love with Isaac and
you may not like this episode then.
From Unknown Graves, I liked it.
I liked most of it, but that restaurant scenes and
I'm done with the whole Claire Isaac thing. Quite honestly.
Well, guess what? We're going in for another episode next week,
in for one more.
So
what can you do?
Whether you like it or not.
Guess what? You're not done.
Yeah.
So we'll be ending March with our final episode of season 3, which will be, of course, next Monday.
And I guess it wouldn't be fitting for us to do a retrospective. Because until we know it's the final season or not, right? You know. So.
Yeah, I think it's intended that the 4th season is going to be the final one anyway, but because they had a hard time getting it all together, apparently.
What are they going to do a 5th season in another 6 years? Like, I think this might be the last.
You never know.
60 at that point,
right? Because
they'll have to get rid of the stairs and put an elevator on the bridge.
Season 1 was 2017. So, like, at this rate, it's going to be 10 years since season 1.
Yeah. What can you do?
You can complain. I hope they listen.
You can complain. And if anybody's good at that, it's me. So, but I'm not complaining.
Then you're not good at it.
Well, I am. Well, okay. But Orville is just one piece of the pie of the Live Long and Podcast universe, Dave.
That's true, Jody. So yes. So I said this last Monday that we were coming to do Star Trek: The Next Generation season 2, episode 9, The Measure of a Man. However, we got an impromptu curling playoff game last Thursday that threw it all off. So
we don't have another one, so we're good.
Yeah, we lost the playoffs, everybody. Congratulations. So we
for the record, I didn't lose the playoffs. Everybody else on my team did.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, it was a team effort.
No, it was only the Skip's fault.
And so anyway, we'll be back this Thursday for another episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I also will be on this Saturday morning. I'm doing an interview with Sean. No, not that one. I'm looking for Sean Farrick from TrekCulture.com.
What is it with that guy in his pictures?
He's got some sexy pictures going on or something. I don't know. I've got.
Well, hopefully you ask him about them when you're.
Yeah, I'm like, why do you have no pants in so many photos?
Sean, what is your affliction with pants, and why do you not like them?
We're gonna get to it. I don't know the whole story. I think he just likes being a sexy guy. So
maybe he just likes to not have pants on. I myself feel the same way sometimes.
He likes to take sexy, suggestive photos. Who's to stop him? He's got the uniforms.
You know what? If you can pull it off, you go right ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna ask him,
Dave, but everybody else.
He's from Ireland. I'm gonna ask him things about that. There's lots coming up here, so look for that. And
I want the question as to why he has such a problem with pants.
Yes.
I want that question.
What is your aversion?
No. And he can harass me on Facebook.
And or underwear. It seems like maybe there's no underwear too. I don't know. So
we'll what, Dave? I don't think you need to go that far into it. Pants, I think, is where
you might get answers you don't want.
I might, but I'm willing to ask those questions. So
he's a cool guy, and I'm sure it's going to be a great interview.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
That it, Dave? Is that all we got?
That's the live long related things at the moment.
What else you got going on?
Oh, we're working on a trivia. We're Davin, because Davin knows all about the actors' real lives, and so I said, well, if you want to win a trivia, that might be the one to win. So where we're going to talk about
throwing him a bone, are you?
Yeah, it would be no Worf questions, only Michael Dorn questions, and that sort of thing. So we're going to get into the actors' lives.
There you go.
Which Davin seems to know better than me, but we'll see.
What can you do?
And Heather's going to be on that one too.
All right. I'm going to be on a next gen episode soon, I think. I was
Yeah, you're on the next week. It would have been this week, but everything got bumped ahead, yeah. So
I get the terrible episode, not Measure of a Man, but I get the
Dauphin.
Terrible, the Dauphin, which is
that's what happens, Jody. So
but I'm looking forward to doing it with Heather, and I can't.
We got Kevin's on this week though for the Measure of a Man.
All right.
Yep.
That's a great episode.
Here it's Kevin.
Anybody got any final thoughts before we head out here?
Let's get their final episode next week and see how this wraps up.
Episode, and then Jody.
You got a wedding coming.
I can take a break of not having to constantly screw up people's names. It'll be great.
I want to see how long this episode is.
Oh, and we're coming back in for All Mankind. We'll be taking this slot on Monday nights. So
I'm being replaced by Dave.
You're welcome. You can
upgrade.
You can keep the job, Jody, if you want to be the host.
I don't want the job, Dave.
I know. I
felt have a hard enough time with the names on this show. And
you're really not going to know those guys.
I'm not. Well, some of them are real life people, so it's easier to figure out. But
next week's episode is 1 hour and 21 minutes, just so you can plan your time.
we better budget our time.
So I shouldn't start.
Half of it is wedding.
7:00 then.
Oh my goodness, Dave! We got uniforms to talk about next week. Excellent.
There's a lot of uniforms in the next one.
Dress uniforms.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Uniforms. Yeah, actually, that clip at the end of our thing, I think, is actually from the 3rd season, where Bortus tells everybody to shut up. I think that's actually part of.
Yeah, it's right like that. You will be silent. That is
silent.
That is from the next episode we're doing.
Yeah. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, a pleasure as always. I love spending my Monday nights with you guys as always, and I look forward to the next one. So,
hey guys, I'll see you later. I'm gonna
have a safe drive home.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
Safe drive.
Bye.
All right, and everybody else, live long and podcasts.
See you.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.